All right, we are taking the opportunity to put into practice what we learned in 1.7 on what literal equations are and how to solve them. Today, we're going to still work with literal equations, but with formulas. So a lot of these you'll probably recognize, some of you may not, but we're going to use our knowledge of solving equations in solving for certain variables in a formula. So how do I rewrite a literal equation or formula for another variable? That's going to be our question. So when we solve a literal equation, now remember a literal equation is one with more than one variable. And we ask ourselves these two questions. Okay, what operations are happening to the variable I'm solving for? So the two questions are, what operations are happening to the variable I'm solving for? I know we shouldn't end a sentence with the word for, but that's just what I'm going to do. I need to rethink that. Okay, and the second one is, how do I undo those operations? How do I undo those operations? Because remember, when you have all the information, we do PEMDAS. Okay, wait. Multiplication and then division, and then addition, subtraction. So just like left to right on those. Okay, but when we solve, we want to do the backwards. You're going to do backwards to undo to solve. Okay, so we have here, we're rewriting a literal equation with only variables and solve each for x. You have to know what you're solving for. Notice we have ax plus b equals c. We have no numbers whatsoever. But this is representing, that a is representing a number, the b is representing a constant, and c is representing a constant. So we are going to solve for x. Now think about what's happening to the x. So the x is being multiplied by a, being multiplied by a, that's an a, not a 9. And then what's happening to it? It's adding b. Okay, so it's being multiplied by a, and then b is being added to it. So to undo this, I'm going to undo this b here. So if those were just numbers, if that was like 3x plus 4 equals 5, you would subtract the 4 first. So same thing, you're going to subtract the b, and now you have ax, and then you can do c minus b. Okay, now you can't combine those. We don't even know what those are. So to undo, I subtract the b. Then to get x by itself, you're going to divide by a. So, and then divide by a. Okay, so your final answer can look like this: c over b, or c minus b over a. Since those are the same, you can combine it like this. Okay, and that would be your final answer. Okay, so that way we can solve for x. If we know c, b, and a, we can plug those in and then solve for x. Okay, let's try this one. We have d times x minus w times x equals z. Okay, well, notice there's an x in both of these. So this is just like if we did this. If we did 3a plus b, 3 times a plus b equals c. That means that would distribute, you would have 3a plus 3b equals c. So notice there's an x in both of these. So this is actually undoing the distributive property. So we can actually bring the x out. This is a little tougher right now, you guys. So I know if you get a little confused on this, is completely understand. What letter is that? Z? Put a line through it so it doesn't look like a 2. All right. We want to solve for x since this is being divided, or excuse me, multiplied here. Now this example, I know you might get a little lost. So don't freak out too much about that. So we're going to have x equals z over d minus w. So what we did there is we just pulled that x out. It's just like saying, like if we distributed the x, it's going to be on both terms, so we can undistribute. It's actually called factoring, which we'll get to later. So what's happening here is the x is being multiplied by d minus w, then distributed. And so to undo, I undistributed, which later we're going to know that as factoring. Okay, and then you divided, I'm going to do this so it saves time, divided d minus w. In fact, what I'll do is we can, I don't know if I want to use these parentheses or not. I guess we could. But don't freak out about that example. I know that was a little bit kind of a little tough right now, but you might have seen it. Okay, so let's rewrite our formulas. So some of these you may know, some of these you may not, and that's okay. They always tell us the formula for a surface area S of a rectangular prism. So a rectangular prism is like a three-dimensional, I'm going to try to draw this. So like a three-dimensional rectangular block like that, okay? Now, when they tell us a surface area, it's like if you had to wrap a present, okay? If you had a box and you had to wrap a present. The surface area is 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. Okay, solve the formula for the length. We need to know where the length is. All right, so we got to find the length. This is length and this is length. So the L there and the L there. So what we want to do there is, since the L is in both of these, we need to move this term first. So we're going to subtract 2WH, subtract 2WH, and we get S minus 2WH equals 2LW minus 2LH. Okay, now we want to get L by itself. Notice it's in both of these terms, so we can actually take out the L. We're going to do 2SWH. We're going to factor out, which means we're going to pull both. So if it's in both of these terms, we can undo the distributive property. And it's like dividing by L. So we're going to bring both of those out. So we have 2W minus 2H. Now, since this is an L here, and this is L being multiplied by this whole thing, we can divide, 2W, yep, that's right, 2H. So we're going to divide this. Oh my gosh, you guys, I know. Don't stress too much. Okay, 2W, 2H equals L. Now, you can't take anything out here. Don't simplify anything else there. All right, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see this. All right, so that's a little crazy. Now, here's one that you definitely know or have been exposed to. The formula for the area of a triangle is the area equals 1/2 base times height. And they want us to solve for H. So if we knew the base and we knew the area, we want to solve for H. So what you want to do here, notice what's happening. Everything's being multiplied by H. So if you want to work with this fraction first, to get rid of 1/2, remember to get rid of that, you can multiply by the reciprocal. So we can multiply each side by 2, and you get 2A equals B times H. Now we want to get rid of the B because we want H by itself. Since that's being multiplied, you're going to divide, and you get 2A divided by B equals H. So what you're going to do is undo and do the opposite operation. Okay, so now these are formulas. Some of them you'll recognize, some of you may not. This is an interest formula, which is interest equals principal times rate times time. So would you, at this point, would you write a secret word? I'm going to put this on the test. Would you write snow day? And I'm going to have that on the test on either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on when your test is. And I'm going to have that as a question. So just be prepared for that, the word snow day. Okay, so interest equals PRT. That's principal, that's rate, that's time. And we figure out the interest rate. So we're going to solve for r. Notice all of these are being multiplied. So we can do this all in one step. We can divide by p and t, and be done. So interest over principal times the time will equal the rate. Okay, since that's all division or multiplication, we're going to divide to get rid of it. Okay, now this one, ax plus by equals c, you're going to see this here this year a lot. This is the standard form of an equation. And we're going to solve for y. So our y is right here. But what's being done to it? It's being multiplied and it's being added by ax. So we're going to subtract ax. Don't change your capitals. If they're capital, don't change it to a lowercase. Okay, and if it's lowercase, don't change it to a capital. So just keep it exactly how you see it. So by equals c minus ax. Okay, and we want to solve for y. So then we're going to divide by b. So y is going to equal c minus ax all over b. Okay. This one, you're going to solve for a. Now, I don't know what formula that is. P equals 100a over m. Principal, months, I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know if that's a set equation or not. Okay, we're going to solve for a. So our a is right here. It's being multiplied by 100, but then dividing by m. So we want to get rid of the m first. So we're going to undo it by multiplying by the, m over 1. So we're going to multiply. This is divided by m. So we're going to multiply it by m. And what's going to happen is these cancel. And you have m times capital P equals 100a. Then you want a by itself. So you're going to divide by 100. So you're going to have m P, capital P, over 100 equals a. Now, if you have it P, capital P, over, and then m over 100, that's fine too. Okay? All right. This one. Now, this is area of a trapezoid. So, a trapezoid that has one set of parallel sides, it's a quadrilateral, is one set of parallel sides, and it has a base 1, base 2, and then it has a height. So the area, this is the formula, and we want to solve for b sub 2. What that means, the b sub 1 and b sub 2, it just means one of the bases, like this is b sub 1 and b sub 2 or vice versa. So we got to think about what's happening here. So the b sub 2, these are all being multiplied. So we've got to get rid of this first. So we can get rid of the half by multiplying by 2. So you have 2a equals h times b sub 1 plus b sub 2. Then this is being multiplied, so we can actually divide by h. And 2a divided by h equals b sub 1 plus b sub 2. And then you're going to subtract b sub 1. So our final answer, 2a over h minus b sub 1 equals b sub 2. Whew. That is crazy. Okay. Try the Delta Math. I put 5 questions on there. So do try those and send me messages. I will be in the office on Friday. So send me messages if you're having a problem. I can probably Zoom in with you and we can do some of them together. But that is your assignment on Thursday or Friday. And I can definitely help you and Zoom you if we need to.